So welcome to Ulster University. My name is Lindsay Shaw. I'm the course director on the Environmental Health degree course at Ulster University. We're standing just outside our Belfast campus on York Street, one of Belfast's main thoroughfares, close to Belfast city centre. Even with COVID restrictions, there's still quite a bit of traffic, making it a noisy location, as well as the construction work that's going on. And during normal times at peak traffic, it can get very noisy indeed. But noise is part of a city environment. It can give a buzz to an area and you know you're in a busy, vibrant and even exciting place. Ulster University is nearing the completion of the expansion of the Belfast campus, and I know the students will love being in the midst of this buzz. But sometimes being in a noisy environment can be annoying. It can make talking and communication difficult, it can be stressful, and sometimes you just want to Wheesht.
Hello, I'm Colin Meikle. I'm the Environmental Health and Acoustics Technician. We're now at the back of the Belfast campus, and what a difference there is to the noise levels. I don't have to raise my voice anymore to be heard. We do not have a busy road with a stream of cars or vans, buses and lorries trundling past. Instead we have a quiet road with little traffic and a big building acting as a barrier from the busy road just the other side of it, blocking most of the noise. Environmental noise has been long identified as being a risk to both physical and mental health, and the impact of noise exposure has become an increasingly popular area of research. In Europe, it's been estimated about 20 million people suffer annoyance caused by exposure to road traffic noise where they live, and 8 million people suffer sleep disturbance from excessive road traffic noise. Research has demonstrated links between noise exposure and several health conditions, including hypertension, strokes, cardiovascular episodes, diabetes, and even obesity. It affects the whole body and how it works without us being aware of its impact. A recently completed PhD carried out by David Kuhn at Ulster University has found that people living adjacent to some of the most noisiest roads have poor health, and there's some evidence of developing unhealthy coping mechanisms such as regular alcohol consumption. The impact of noise exposure on health and increasing evidence on the impacts has led governments to continue to develop policies that seek to mitigate and prevent health impacts from environmental noise such as traffic. The impact of noise on health is also something that environmental health and acoustic professionals are also concerned about. On the environmental health course, part of our studies include acoustics and noise, and looking at the impact it has on health. Environmental health officers in our local councils will examine planning application and consider any potential noise impacts. For example, where a developer wants to build houses on vacant ground besides a busy road or even close to a factory. The aim is to protect people from living in environments that could affect their health and to prevent unsuitable development at this early planning stage. We have graduates that work as environmental consultants and will carry out noise impact assessments for new developments, again ensuring that negative impacts are minimised or avoided at an early stage. Noise is an important consideration in our built environment.
Clifton House is an impressive Georgian building opened in 1774 by Belfast Charitable Society, and the building was the original poorhouse in Belfast until the 1880s. For the next 120 years it was a hospital and a nursing home for older people. Today it still provides residential and sheltered housing for older people and continues to be the centre from which Belfast Charitable Society delivers its philanthropic work to address disadvantage. Clifton House is just a short walk from Ulster University's Belfast campus at the corner of Clifton Street and North Queen Street. It's again sited in one of Belfast's main thoroughfares, making it another noisy location at these gates. While it might be noisy right here at the side of the road, the noise attenuates or reduces the more you move away from here at the side of the road. By the time you reach the residential homes on the Clifton House site, the noise has significantly reduced and it's a more comfortable noise environment. Distance is a simple but effective noise reduction measure. Roads are counted in acoustic terms as a line source, and as a rule of thumb, there's a 3 decibel reduction for every doubling of distance. Also in noise terms, there's an ongoing research on road surfaces that will produce less noise when vehicles pass on them, and vehicles themselves are getting quieter, especially electric vehicles. Clifton House has had some interesting figures involved in its history, including the admirable Mary Ann McCracken. Mary Ann McCracken was born into a notable Presbyterian family in Belfast in 1770 to Captain John McCracken and Anne Joy. The Joy family had established the Belfast Newsletter, the world's oldest English language general daily newspaper still in publication. Mary Ann had close links to Belfast Charitable Society. Her uncle, Henry Joy, raised the money to construct the poorhouse, and his brother Robert was responsible for managing the construction work. Her father also served on the board. Mary Ann McCracken was an abolitionist, a social reformer and an activist who fought for the rights of women and championed Belfast poor throughout a long life that encompassed the most turbulent years of Irish history and at a time when women's voices were generally not heard. Mary Ann was president of the Ladies' Industrial School and campaigned to abolish the use of climbing boys in chimney sweeping. She was involved in early women's suffrage campaigns and prison reform schemes. Mary Ann was also a lifelong abolitionist, founding the Belfast Women's Anti-Slavery League. In her late 80s, she could still be found on the docks handing out anti-slavery leaflets to immigrants embarking for the slave-owning United States. Through the Poor House Ladies Committee, she helped educate the children and secure apprenticeships that would provide them with livelihoods. And isn't it interesting that all this happened so close to Ulster University's Belfast campus that's continuing with the importance of education?
Just a short walk from the noisy Clifton Street and North Queen Street junction, we have crossed over the A12 West Link and the main arterial route through Belfast and reached the much quieter Henry Place and Clifton Street Cemetery. Clifton Street Graveyard opened in 1797 and was managed by the Belfast Charitable Society. Burials no longer take place in the cemetery, which is recognised as an historical site. To combat the risk from body snatchers, a wall was built around the graveyard. It failed to stop the practice, however, and became common for relatives to stand guard beside the new graves every night until the risk of snatching had decreased. But with respect to noise, these walls that were built to stop body snatchers provide perfect noise barriers and stop a lot of noise from the busy roads that are in such close proximity. You can even describe the graveyard as dead quiet. Some noise, of course, can be heard as the walls don't stop all noise. Some of it travels over the wall, and low frequency noise travels better through the wall, through solid structure, than high frequency noise. Older graveyards, often with mature trees and vegetation, can often be found in built up areas. As the cities grew around them, they're often a sanctuary from the noise and activity of everyday life, as well as a sanctuary for wildlife, providing home for birds, squirrels, hedgehogs, and so on. Birdsong can be so relaxing to hear. Visiting these old places, you can not only enjoy the quietness, but you can also learn a lot about the local history. Clifton Street Cemetery contains the poor graves, which is a portion of land for those that could not pay for their burials. And there's also a large unmarked plot that serves as a mass grave for victims of the 1832 cholera pandemic. But there's also some very noticeable burials in Clifton Street Cemetery graveyard, including the Donville family that produced whisky in their Belfast distillery. George Heineman and John Templeton, who helped establish Belfast's beautiful botanic gardens. Marianne McCracken, who I mentioned earlier before, was involved in Belfast Charitable Trust, and her more famous brother, Henry Joy McCracken, founding member of the United Irishmen. Henry Joy McCracken was hanged for his part in the United Irish Rebellion, 1798. He was originally buried close to High Street, but his remains were later moved to Clifton Street alongside his sister Marianne.
Here we are outside the Duke of York Bar. In normal times, this is one of Belfast's most popular bars and the hive of activity, especially at night. It's located down narrow streets and alleys, limiting any noisy traffic. The buildings also act as a barrier, blocking out much of the city noise. But when the bar is open and the area is alive with people all out socialising, they create their own noise. They create a buzz and indeed a real good atmosphere. It all forms part of a good night out, and Belfast knows how to have a good night out. But without that noise, there's something missing as quietness returns. Indeed, without the usual noise, the same place can feel uncomfortable, eerie, and for some people it actually feels unsafe, even though the only thing that's changed is the noise. So noise is sometimes not a bad thing. It can be useful, it can create a good atmosphere, and we can all feel safer when the noise around us allows us to know there's other people around too.
We come back towards the Cathedral Quarter and are now standing in Writers' Square that sits opposite St Anne's Cathedral, and a very short distance from where we started, the Belfast campus. Writers' Square was developed to recognise the city's rich literacy and has quotes inscribed in various parts of it from the works of C.S. Lewis, Lewis MacNeice and John Hewitt. It was designed to be a public place and somewhere pleasant to walk and relax. The buildings surrounding it do indeed form a barrier from nearby noise sources. This space can be valued as a quiet pocket in a busy city, allowing us to escape for even a few moments from the din and allow us to gather our thoughts. Noise distracts us and can interfere with our thinking. How hard it is to focus, to revise, do exams in a really noisy environment. But we do need some quietness in our lives every day, not just when we're trying to study. It adds to your mindfulness. Mindfulness practices can help us to increase our ability to regulate emotions, decrease stress, anxiety and depression. It can also help us to focus our attention as well as to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment. It is one of the 5 steps to well-being which has been really important during COVID. Give, be active, connect, keep learning and take notice. A bit of wheesht every now and again helps us to take notice. Knowing where there are retreats is also very important. This is why I'd like you all to get involved with Hush Cities app. Using the Hush Cities app, you'll be taking part in a European-wide project. The app allows you to record quiet areas, and that information is shared with other users. Users can also then use the app to find a quiet area near them when they need to find a little bit of peace and quiet. The more users the app has, the more useful it becomes, and it has the potential of orientating plans and policies for healthier living. You can download the Hush Cities app from your app store for free. When you're at a quiet place, you can add it to the app in simple steps. 1. Record the sound. The app uses the microphone to measure the noise levels in decibels. So please take note that this is an indicative level and not completely accurate. Noise levels can only be relied on when taken by fully calibrated sound level meters that are built to high standards. Secondly, take a picture of the area where you have recorded the sound. Thirdly, answer a short questionnaire. please record here as part of the NI Science Festival 2021. And fourthly, share with others. It's that simple. So please be part of the community. Let us share some of these quiet areas for everyone else to enjoy.